Everyone's talking about clipping armies and short form content distribution right now more than ever. But most high ticket and service businesses are doing it completely wrong and wondering why they're getting a ton of views and no conversions, or even just no views in the first place while putting out a ton of content. And that's because clipping, aka short form content distribution, is significantly different for a high ticket service business than it is for most of the other industries and creator types that are utilizing clipping to the fullest right now. In other words, the clipping strategy that works for a streamer or for selling a $20 course doesn't work the same way for someone selling a $3,000 to $20,000 high ticket service. But in this video, I'm breaking down exactly how to clip content, still ride the wave of short form content distribution, but specifically for high ticket businesses without falling into the volume trap that works for other industries or having your short form content just not perform in the first place. So the clipping revolution, here's what happened. Clipping exploded across all industries, got super popular, even though short form content distribution has always been a thing. And it will always be a thing, and it'll always be a crucial lever to pull for businesses across all industries, because we'll never necessarily meet like an equilibrium on where the supply is for posting media across social media as opposed to where the demand is for users needing to consume content on these platforms. AI can definitely change things, but at least in terms of what humans can create as of now, the demand for needing creators to post content will always be higher. And what happened here was that everyone's copying for the most part the same strategy, because clipping is very nuanced and it works different ways for different industries and for different clipping content strategies. And overall, with the sheer volume that is on short form content, not necessarily users, but the volume of faces that people see scrolling through short form content versus something like YouTube, makes clipping lean in the favor of being a volume focused approach. Meaning, while YouTube may have the same or even more users than platforms like TikTok or Instagram, people are making more interactions and seeing more faces because of the frequency and volume that they're seeing when they're scrolling through this platform on a daily basis. And so the clipping strategies that obviously get the most volume and do really well for a lot of industries is very volume oriented. In other words, it's very broad. This is why we see streamers, for example, pay out a lot of money to clippers and have tons of clippers, and even just big personal brands in any space where their audience and the audience they can go after is a bigger market of people. Now, the problem though with running a high ticket business is you may have seen all of this hype and wanted to create organic short form content, but been confused around, but how do I translate this into success for my business when I'm more niche and I'm selling a specific high ticket service? Because at the end of the day, high ticket doesn't fully align with these high volume strategies. We could copy similar strategies, go after broad audiences, but if we're targeting an audience that isn't aligned with the product that we sell and is not ICP, then we could get tons of views but zero conversions. And so what we want to shift to is actually going for focusing on quality of traffic versus sheer volume, because obviously the wrong audience is going to equate to no conversions. Before we go deeper, let's cover some of the common reasons why clipping fails for high ticket offers or high ticket brands. The common mistakes that I see are, number one, just following the overall strategy that's working for broader industries and broader focused creators, such as creating multiple accounts and diluting their brand, basically launching a full-scale clipping campaign, overall chasing views over qualified leads, making entertainment content versus authority content, and so shifting their actual content strategy to be more like these broader creators, even though it doesn't really have any alignment whatsoever with the specific avatar that they're selling to and the specific service that they're selling. And then even worse, no clear funnel from clips to actually booking calls and driving and attributing results to the short form content you're posting. And once again, the reality is that something like a $20 course where someone could have a very broad personal brand, someone like Andrew Tate, that is something that can work very well for clipping. His total addressable market is a lot of people. But when we're selling something like a $3,000 to $20,000 high ticket service, it's not going to work the same way. And it's because high ticket clients need trust in content and not entertainment. And the reason why posting on multiple accounts doesn't work plays in the same reason. And it's the fact that your profile should be the funnel. We shouldn't aim to post on multiple different accounts and therefore dilute the brand, but also just have asymmetrical results. We should look to build your brand long term, becoming a trusted figure in the space, niching down our content, going for less views, but targeting a higher quality audience where even if we get 5,000 views, if we have a even decent conversion rate on a $5,000 offer, we can make similar or even more money than someone selling a low ticket product, reaching, let's say, 1 million people selling a product for $20 simply because we're selling at a higher price per unit. Now, real quick, before we go even further, if you run a high ticket offer or you're running a high ticket service business and you want someone to step in and build out a full done for you clipping short form content distribution system into your offer and brand, I'll leave a link down below where you can book a call to speak directly with me one-on-one. We can run through your situation, see what the levers to pull are to get you to the result you're looking for, and overall see if it's a good fit. But let's get back to the video. Now, the right way to do in-house clipping. Now to get into the real sauce, this is the right way to do in-house clipping. And it all starts with the footage that we have available, right? So the first step is going to be sourcing our content, right? Where can we get this footage? We can get this footage from a range of different places, from our long form YouTube videos, from any podcasts, any live streams that you may have done, from client calls. So there's a lot of way to source this footage, and you likely might already have, for example, let's say at least some long form YouTube videos where we can go through and do clipping. You may have been on a few podcasts, you may have group calls where you can take snippets and turn that into short form content. And I've even talked to business owners that do something like a TikTok live a lot. And it's a niche TikTok live where they're answering common questions in this industry. And that's an example of long form content that could totally be clipped up and turned into shorts. Now, if you don't have any sort of long form content strategy or footage you're sitting on right now, this would be the first step to start planning out the source of this footage, where it's going to come from. And now with this new strategy in mind, we want to go into producing every piece of long form with the thought that we want to optimize this content as much as possible to be clippable for our short form content. Meaning what this looks like is if we structure our long form video, we're going into scripting and outlining. How can we set this up in a way where we can easily take short form content from this? For example, with podcasts, if we're going through and lining up the different questions that we'll ask, we want to make sure that that's also optimized and the length of our questions and answers, for example, are optimized for short form content. Same with live streams and webinars. With group calls, more of a just looking through the footage and seeing if you can do something with it, I would say. And again, with this strategy, we're going for quality over quantity, meaning we're actually not going for high volume of clips because we won't necessarily have so much access to those as opposed to like a live streamer that's streaming for 6 hours a day. Of course, he's going to have more clips and also clips that have a higher chance of reaching more people. But as we've already gone over, we're going for a higher quality of traffic versus pure volume, meaning that when we set this up the right way, each clip will actually serve a specific purpose in the funnel. And generally, all this content is going to be based around value and build real authority within our market. And when it comes to distribution, we should really look to keep this all in one account. Of course, posting across multiple platforms to have more distribution overall across the board. And then additionally, having our profile optimized for conversions. This is something I see a lot of people not do, and it's really, really simple to set up. Now, with Instagram, for example, this can look like having a bio that clearly states what you do, the people that you help, how long you've been doing, important information like that that's simply just optimized for first impressions. Having highlights, showing case studies, showing personal wins, transformations, things of that sort. Having a DM CTA in your bio can also be a really good one. DM me keyword for X. And then really simple things like having a profile picture that shows you're an actual human. These are really simple and easy things to set up that yet do matter. And to go into the specific types of content, obviously it's all going to start with our long form content, because when it comes to clipping, of course, we're taking long form and we're repurposing into short form. We're having the most leverage where we're not having to film specific unique videos just for the sake of it being short form. And so what we can look to plan out is different types of content. So we have a diversified strategy just on the short form top of funnel front. Things like, authority clips can be industry insights, contrarian takes, case study breakdowns, process explanations, trust builders, conversion type content, objection handling. And so if you even want to screenshot this and when you're going into planning out your next video, keep these in mind for touch points for that video. It's really important to have a diversified strategy. So we're not saying the same thing over and over again, but then also so that we have a range of different touch points to talk on in our content, because of course, different types of prospects will convert on different types of messaging. And then again, within our organic funnel, we must have an optimized profile, clear value prop shown / credibility in your bio, social proof, right? Highlights, a clear link in your bio, whether it's a lead magnet to get contact info and give free value, or direct booking link, or VSL sales page. And then across the board, of course, consistent brand messaging. We don't want to be all over the place. This then leads to a clear content flow / organic funnel of clips building authority, getting the reach, profile visit, anchoring them over to the destination of your profile, then taking the next step into your bio, clicking the link in your bio, or going to the DMs, and then going deeper into your sales process and eventually ending up on your calendar, turning into a client. And then as we wrap up, a few things to keep in mind for someone in the service business selling high ticket is that our content is going to look a lot different than a lot of people out there that are doing the most volume, again, with clipping, right? We might have longer clips because to provide full context and break down the topic that's more niche or nuanced, we might need a longer, 60 to 90 second clip versus like a 15 to 20 second clip. We're going to be obviously prioritizing education over entertainment. Of course, you want to stay consistent, posting across all platforms, and basically inverse these rules and don't do the opposite. And the bottom line is that short form content distribution is still essential. It's so essential because it builds familiarity at scale, creates multiple touch points, right? Diversified messaging, as we talked about, and increases our brand recognition. And if we do it the right way with short form organic, it's one of those channels of marketing that brings in the most asymmetrical results. It's one of those channels of marketing that brings in one of the most asymmetric results. Of course, there's no cost behind it because it's not paid. And when we set up a clipping strategy, especially the right way, taking long form content, repurposing into short form, there's not a whole lot of effort that goes into it either. But to do this, of course, and what we covered in this entire video is that the strategy must match the actual business model. High ticket, of course, is a quality focused type of content strategy. Service businesses will sell at the highest rate when authority is there. And B2B generally has more of a professional approach to it. So make sure overall, to wrap this up, that the key metric that you're tracking is qualified leads and not total views. And once again, if you run a high ticket offer service-based business and you want help done for you setting up a clipping strategy into your own offer and brand, I'll leave a link down below where you can check out a link to both book with me, see if we could be a good fit to help you out. And make sure to like, let me know in the comments what you thought about this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.